Audio check, 1, 2, 3, audio check.
Audio check.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Motive Racing YouTube channel. We are here for the 15th round of the Formula 1 League on a Friday night on the Codemasters Formula 1 game here on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 platforms. My name's Andy. We're at Suzuka tonight for obviously the Japanese Grand Prix, and we're expecting fireworks here tonight, not literally in the sense that you would have seen at Singapore a week ago, but nonetheless I'm sure we're going to be looking forward to some great action. Suzuka, one of the more iconic and historic Formula 1 circuits on the calendar, so it always throws up a few thrills and spills. Not the easiest of circuits, but if you can nail that first sector, the S's, along with the tricky middle sector, then you're absolutely laughing down straights like this, down towards the flat out 130R and the tricky final chicane as well. So it's an all-round real test of the of driver skill, and very uncompromising as well. A lot of this track entails gravel traps and straight up grass runoffs if you get it wrong, which makes it a very, very traditional old style circuit. So we're looking forward to seeing how this one goes, as we've already lost a driver here from this qualifying session. Looks like NRO has already retired from the session, and so has Raki. Oh my goodness, two drivers have crashed out of the session here. So just showing the uncompromising nature of this circuit in the very early stage of this qualifying session. But round 15, as we said, 19 round season here at Motive for the Formula 1 League, so we're 4 rounds from the end of the season, and the big news is that this man here in the Red Bull, teammate of Raki and son of Raki, who we saw just retired from the session a few moments ago, this man here, Joram, it could actually wrap up the title tonight if he manages to outscore Game for Life by 10 points tonight here at Japan. Then he will take the championship with 4 rounds to spare. Leads the championship by 89 points coming into this one, so it's a big opportunity to get it done. But nonetheless, we're going to see how this pans out over the course of this evening, and he might have the might be able to do it very, very early on. Last season we obviously saw just Jose take the championship. It went down all the way down to the wire between just Jose and Green Pies. We saw just Jose ending up taking the championship by, I think it was about 10 points, something like that, over Green Pies. But obviously this time around, Joram has been a pretty dominant force in the second half of the season. Game for Life actually did lead the championship in the early part of the season, and up until the midway point, and then Joram went on a winning streak throughout the season. I've actually got the proper tables here in front of me. We can't show them because it won't let me sort it into championship order, but basically Joram hadn't taken a win up until Silverstone, and then went on a run of, well, he won at Silverstone, then he got a second place in Hungary, and then since then he's won 5 races on the bounce. Belgium, Netherlands, Italy, Russia and Singapore all went the way of Joram, our Dutch driver, who's obviously son of Raki as well as the teammate in those Red Bulls, and he's currently on an outlap at the moment. But this man could take the title with 4 rounds to spare, and he'll be the first driver since Sebastian Vettel to wrap up a title at Suzuka back in 2011. But obviously this is sim racing, not real life, but nonetheless it'll be it's a little bit deja vu seeing a Red Bull driving around Suzuka, potentially with the opportunity to wrap up the championship. But his Game for Life currently setting the pace at the moment by 0.2 of a second, has got the advantage ahead of Magfire. Let's pull up the graphic where we can see what tyres people are on. So the top 4 are all on the soft tyres. Penguin Dude's done well there, up into 3rd place. One of our former admins and league coordinator for this F1 League is making his return tonight. Asked if he could jump in as a reserve, and we got him in to obviously see what he can do against these drivers who have been racing week in, week out for the last few weeks. So be great to see if Penguin Dude can get a good result here. He got a couple of podiums in the early part of the season. He was, I think it was 3rd in Canada. Let's just have a look at the leaderboard. That usually helps. Yeah, 3rd in Canada. He also got a 2nd place in the absolute disaster that was the Monaco Grand Prix earlier this season. So Penguin Dude's got the credentials to stand on that champagne rostrum, but still yet to take a win, I think, in this F1 League. Full stop. Not just this season, but he hasn't actually won a race overall, so he'd love to change that tonight, I'm sure. He's currently sat in 3rd at the moment in this session. Game for Life though, top of the leaderboard at the moment, ahead of Magfire. Let's get the lap data up. That always helps us to know what's going on in terms of the lap times. But Penguin is just coming up towards the hairpin now. I think he got a little bit held up on this lap that he's currently on at the moment. We've got the possible champion-elect here, Joram, just coming out of Spoon. He appears to be on lap time at the moment. He's currently setting some quick sector times here as he's coming in towards the closing stages of the lap, up towards 130R. Comes Joram. Question on everybody's lips is, can he wrap up the title here with 4 rounds to spare, or will it roll on to the next rounds? Obviously, if Joram wins the race, Game for Life will have to come in second place, otherwise the championship is over for Game for Life. So Joram standing on the cusp here as he comes over the line and he goes on provisional pole there. A lovely lap from Joram, and that is on the medium tyres as well. Scorching stuff there from the Red Bull driver, the championship leader, showing once why he is at the top of the standings throughout this season and why he's got such a massive gap in the points. Game for Life has put the mediums on. He's going out for another go at it. Maybe he didn't hit his true potential on those soft tyres in his first run, but Joram has just really laid down a marker there, and that's looking pretty ominous for the rest of the drivers out on track at this early stage. Game for Life, Magfire, Penguin Dude, Mr. Basil, Derby Bay and Rednas all in the pits at the moment. All those guys running on the soft tyres. Shugs Life racing as a reserve tonight. Still has put a time good enough for 8th place so far. Jaffa Cake in P9 in the Alpha Tauri. He's coming out onto the start finish straight now. What can Jaffa Cake do as he crosses over the line? Doesn't improve, stays in P9. Polish My Balls in 10th and DJ Phil in 11th. Polish My Balls did his fastest lap on the medium tyres though, so that will obviously pay dividends for him in terms of the strategy. Raki, Bennett and NRO all crashing out of the session very, very early on tonight, so they'll start at the back. They've got the work to do here over the course of tonight. Game for Life's on his outlap, so what can Game for Life do in response to Joram's scorching pace there? A 30.2 from our provisional pole sitter here. As Shugs Life comes over the line and goes P5 with that lap. 31 dead from him. Nicely done there from Shugs Life. Rednas on his outlap at the moment. Jaffa Cake's on a flyer. He's coming just out of the S's up towards the second sector here. And Shugs Life has crashed out of the session. Shugs Life has, I assume he must have hit the wall coming into the S's. Yeah, there he is. You just see Derby Bay going past the scene. So Shugs Life, yellow flags, double wave yellow flags through sector 1. And the drivers are going to have to watch out there. They're going to have to get out of it a little bit coming through that part of the track. Otherwise they will face the wrath of the stewards. As Game for Life is about to start his next flying lap. What can he do? What has he got to offer Joram here? As we said earlier on, if Joram were to take the win tonight, then Game for Life would have to come second to keep the championship alive going into the next round of racing, which will be at Austin, Texas. It will be Circuit of the Americas next time out for the US Grand Prix. So if Game for Life can come P2, he'll keep it going for at least another round, and I'm sure he'd like to take it into at least the last 3 rounds of the season. Obviously he wants to keep it going for as long as he can, but Joram very much on the cusp here as Game for Life's on his second proper flying lap here at the session. This time he's put the medium tyres on, so he's trying to play a bit of an ace up his sleeve in terms of the strategy as he's coming up through this tricky section of the track up towards the Degners. And Game for Life's a little bit up on his personal best coming through the first sector, and when you consider that fastest time was set on the soft, Game for Life's really on the pace here. Maybe he made a couple of mistakes on that lap that he did on the soft tyres, which has compromised him a little bit, but he seems to be really on it on these mediums so far on this first flying lap of the session. Maybe the tyre's not fully up to temperature as well here, but Game for Life coming up towards Spoon Corner. Is he going to nail it? How's he going to be through here? The medium tyres definitely do have a big disadvantage coming through this part of the track. They're really going to be screaming out, but Game for Life looks pretty tidy through there. Out of the corner he comes. Not too much runoff, not too much curb. Very tidy indeed, keeping it well off of those white lines. Nice to see. Game for Life's now coming up towards 130R. If he can win the race tonight, then he'd definitely keep the championship alive. The gap would be under 90 points going into the next round. It'd be about 80 points. So Game for Life just wants to outscore Joram if he can. As here he comes out onto the start finish straight now. Game for Life up towards the line. This is a quick lap here from Game for Life, but it's not quick enough. He misses out narrowly there. He does actually improve his lap. He gets within 0.2 of a second of Joram with that lap. So Game for Life on the medium tyres. Those two on a level playing field with those medium tyres, and there's not much between them at all. Joram currently setting the pace, but Game for Life is really finding some grip out there on the track at the moment. In the McLaren, oh, Game for Life gets a bit sideways. Oh no, he's out of the session. Game for Life, just as we're riding within there, we've got double waved yellow flags through sector 1 just on the cut-off between sector 1 and sector 2. Game for Life, just as he put it on the front row of the grid, bins it into the wall, and that has put an end to his qualifying session there. Joram, Magfire and Penguin Dude in the pits. Penguin Dude just coming out of the pits now. Mr. Basil's in the pits. Derby Bay, Redknapp and Jaffa Cake all out there on the track. As Polish My Balls and DJ Phil also sat in the pits, but that's taken the pressure off of Joram a little bit now. The provisional pole sitter can just breathe a sigh of relief here. He knows that he's not under pressure from Game for Life, but Magfire and Derby Bay, both out there on soft tyres, can both still improve in the closing stage of this session. Don't rule out either of those two putting it on pole here. Obviously a couple of Joram's big rivals here in this F1 League. You've got Raki, you've got, well no, he is his teammate, but you've got Derby Bay, you've got Bennett, obviously crashed out of the session very early on, could have been a contender for pole here. So lots of his potential rivals, lots of the rivals to both Joram and to Game for Life out of this session early on, and we'll have to start from the back and have to really do this one the hard way. Pete Bibb says good luck to everyone for tonight in the comments. Pete, one of our regular viewers on the stream here, always supports us, always gives us a shout here on the Motive Racing channel. Big shout out to Pete Bibb. Also races on ACC on a Wednesday night in our GT4 series and in our touring cars on Project Cars 2, which is coming up later tonight as well. So we're very much looking forward to seeing Pete Bibb out on the track soon. We've got Scott Ayres saying great lap Mr. Basil. Oh yeah, actually Mr. Basil doing well there, P7. He's not too far off the pole time, only 8/10 off of Joram's time. He can definitely find pace and improve there and get himself pretty high up. I think Scott is Nem Vidic. Correct me if I'm wrong, mate, but you are Nem Vidic, aren't you? I think you are. Not racing because track is... Well, race anyway. If that's the reason why you're not here, just jump in. It doesn't matter. Like, you can still race. Anyway, so yeah, we got so Joram sat in the pit still. Doesn't look like he's coming back out here in this session. Magfire is sat in third spot on this leaderboard, and he's just got an Alpha Tauri of Penguin Dude just behind him. But in fact, no, hold on. Yeah, no, it's Penguin Dude just behind Magfire. Magfire currently sat in P3, could be a potential threat to the provisional pole sitter Joram. We've got Scuderia Paul in the comments, says evening race fans, welcome along Scuderia Paul, good to see you. Regular in our GT3 on a Sunday night on ACC, and regular comments throughout the week on these streams that we got on the Motive Racing channel. Big shout out as well to Scuderia Paul, one of our biggest fans here on the channel. As we got Magfire coming up towards Spoon Corner, he's got 4/10 to find here on Joram. Could be another one to try and throw his hat into the mix and maybe extend the championship battle a little bit for Game for Life. It's not really a battle, it's a foregone conclusion, but at least he can keep it going and keep it mathematically alive for as long as possible. But Magfire coming in towards 130R, he's up on his personal best here. He's on a very, very quick lap so far. If he can nail this final chicane, we could be seeing Magfire taking pole here for round 15 of the season at the Japanese Grand Prix at Motive. Out of the last corner, foot flat to the board series is coming up towards the line, and Magfire puts it on pole there by 18 thousandths of a second. Lovely lap from Magfire, goes to the top of the pile, and Joram now sat provisionally alongside him on the front row, but down to second place here. So the man who wants to wrap up the title tonight is not going to be starting this one on pole, as he's sat in the pits at the moment. He needs to get himself out there and go for another attempt here before the end of this session. Magfire now the man to beat here. Lovely lap in the Alfa Romeo. So Derby Bay is currently out there on an out lap at the moment. He'll be starting a flying lap in about a minute's time, I would imagine. Redknapp's doing a decent job in this qualifying session. He's in P5 at the moment. He's 8/10 off at the pole time. Penguin Dude has done a lap on the mediums by the looks of it, and that's a pretty nifty time as well there. Not too bad from Penguin Dude. Mr. Basil's out on an out lap at the moment. He's his best times are 1:31 dead. He's getting big support in the chat from Scott Ayres, who's very much getting himself behind Mr. Basil at the moment. He's coming over to start another lap here. Jaffa Cake sat in 9th at the moment on the leaderboard. He's currently up on his personal best coming through the first sector, but he's got time to find here as he's second off of Mr. Basil, and he's over 2 seconds off of the provisional pole time set by Magfire. Polish My Balls is out there at the moment. He's put the soft tyres on. He did his initial flying lap on the mediums, but he's switched up to the soft, hoping to find a bit more time out there. DJ Phil currently running in 11th place in this leaderboard. Oh no, DJ Phil's crashed, and he just about survives without terminal damage there. Oh my goodness me. DJ Phil with a big moment, and he's missing his front wing. He's going to have to get that in, but he's not going to get it repaired in time to get another lap in. Magfire, the provisional pole sitter, coming into the pits, so he clearly doesn't think that he can improve his lap time on what he's done there. So Joram now the championship leader and potentially could be the champion of the Formula 1 League here at Motive after tonight is going to be given a free rein to have a shot at Magfire's pole here. Derby Bay, Red Nass and Penguin Dude all out there as well. Derby Bay's about to start another flying lap here. I think it might be his final flying lap of the session here. I did see the timing board was pretty close on 1 minute 30. I think this is going to be for all the marbles here for Derby Bay. So Derby Bay on his final attempt at the session. Yes, he is. Magfire can't do anything now. He's just got to sit there and wait and hope that Joram and Derby Bay can't improve on their times and put themselves above him on the leaderboard. We've got Red Nass on his out and out lap at the moment. Derby Bay's crashed out. Derby Bay is out of qualifying here. He's done. He's surely going to have to park that and bring it into the pits because he's not going to improve there on that. Derby Bay just struggling to get it back on the track. Red Nass is on an out lap. Can he get round in time? Hopefully for him he can. Penguin Dude's about to start another lap here. Mr. Basil is coming through the first two corners at the first sector at the moment. Jaffa Cake in 9th in the qualifying standings, has got about half a lap left to go on this lap, but he's down on his personal best. I don't think he's going to improve here. This could be it for Jaffa Cake. Polish My Balls is coming out of Spoon Curve right now. He's coming down the long straight up towards 130R. What can he do at the end of this session? DJ Phil's in the pits. He's not going to improve either. He's done for the session and we'll start this one in 11th place. Here's Polish My Balls coming in towards the final chicane. Bit of lag going on there in the Alpine as he gets the car stopped and negotiates that chicane pretty nicely. Coming out of the final corner now. Can Polish My Balls get himself up ahead of Jaffa Cake, maybe up towards the line he comes? No, he can't. Stays in P10. That's that for Polish My Balls then. Gelram is out there coming through Spoon Curve. Derby Bay is actually just behind Gelram on the track at the moment, but I think that it's Penguin Dude who's a little bit behind them on the track. Mr. Basil's just coming through Spoon, so it's currently Joram furthest up here as he's coming up towards the chicane now, and he's 2/10 up on his personal best. Joram's just got to nail these final couple of corners here and he will be on pole for this one. He'll be able to leapfrog Magfire at the top of that leaderboard. Coming out over the line, Joram comes up towards the finish of qualifying, and there we go. Joram puts it on pole position by half a second. Look at that. He found so much time coming through that final part of the lap. Joram put onto provisional pole. Derby Bay doesn't improve, stays in P4. Penguin Dude's got a few corners left to go. Mr. Basil pits, so he's not going to improve either. What about Penguin Dude here? He's coming up towards 130R. Can Penguin Dude get himself ahead of Joram? Doesn't look like it. It looks like he's backed out of his lap there. So I think that is going to be it then, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be Joram who stands on the verge of taking Motive Racing's Formula 1 Championship on a Friday night on the Codemasters Formula 1 game here. If he can finish him first and Game for Life stays where he is at the moment, which is third, then Joram will take the title. So big moments here for Joram. Deep breaths as he's about to start what could be the race of his life here. Pole position for Joram in qualifying. Fastest man here in Japan ahead of Magfire. Game for Life will line up in third with Derby Bay fourth. Then Red Nass in fifth. Penguin Dude sixth. Followed by Chugs Life, Mr. Basil, Jaffa Cake in ninth ahead of Polish My Balls. DJ Phil, Raki, Bennett and NRO will line up for the rest of the field. But Joram putting himself in the prime position to take the title here. But if Game for Life can get ahead of Magfire and finish in second place, then the championship will roll on to next week at Austin, Texas for the US Grand Prix. But this would be the most emphatic championship win if Joram were to wrap it up tonight. I don't think I've ever seen the championship wrapped up with 4 weeks to spare. Obviously the F1 championship set to finish off around Christmas, just before Christmas, so if he were to take this with 4 rounds to spare, that would be nothing short of incredible. And he's taking a really strong pole position here, half a second clear of Magfire and Game for Life 7/10 off for the pole time. Joram and Game for Life in the prime position with their medium tyres, but Joram even more so. Magfire and everybody else in fact on the soft tyres. So Joram and Game for Life putting themselves in a very strong place to go long into this first stint. But an early safety car could definitely throw a spanner in the works for them. But here we go then, guys. We're just about to go to the official race session here. Scuderia Paul says Suzuka is one of the world's greatest. Circuit is a challenge and a piece of old school brilliance. Great lap from Joram under pressure and on medium tyres. Yeah, for sure. He's pulled it out of the bag despite all the eyes being on him at the moment, standing on the cusp of taking the championship here at Motive for the F1 League, possibly following in the footsteps of Just Jose. I mean, he is going to win the championship. I think we know that for certain, but whether it's going to be tonight or whether it's going to be next week, we just don't know. But we're going to find out tonight. 8 of you watching at the moment on the YouTube channel. Guys, if you like what you see, be sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the Motive Racing channel if you haven't already. If you play the F1 game, or if you play Project Cars or Assetto Corsa Competizione, then be sure to come to the Discord. Go to www.motiveracing.com first, that's the website. Top right hand corner is a little link which says Discord. If you click on that, that will take you to where you can get involved in the action. You can sign up to the championships that we got currently ongoing at the moment. Coming towards the end of the season here, we're a month away from the end of the current season, then we're going to take a short 2 or 3 week break for Christmas, and we'll be back on for the next season. The new season sign-ups for the new year will probably be coming out pretty soon. I'll be getting those out in the next couple of weeks. We'll get those out before the end of the season, so that the interest for the drivers is still there by the time we actually get going for the new season. But we're just waiting for the drivers to ready up here at the start of the race. Polish My Balls just apparently is the one who's we're waiting on to ready up, so hopefully his connection's not timing out here, and we will all be ready to roll once the green light falls for the formation lap. So it looks like we just experienced a bit of lag here, guys, so apologies for this. I don't know exactly what's occurring here. Hopefully this sorts itself out ASAP and we can have some racing on you know, right now really. But this just a bit of a niggle as we're waiting to get going. Here we go, so we're back in now. Good stuff. So formation lap just getting going. One stop, looks like it's going to be a 12 to 16 lap stint required for the opening stint. I reckon that one stop could be possible. If drivers are able to go 12 laps on the mediums, then they could probably put the hards on and easily go to the end of the race. Maybe you might see a few drivers trying to do a medium and a soft stint. It could be possible. It would be a real challenge to look after them enough though. But I wonder if anybody is going to try and go that stint on the mediums, go maybe 15, 16, possibly 17 laps maybe, and then just stick the softs on for the end. I reckon that might be a little bit of a step too far, as Joram is absolutely miles ahead of them on this formation lap. So similar to the qualifying session really, he's absolutely left them here at the start. So obviously this is not the race start, Joram, you know, you've got to just rein it in a little bit for now. You don't want to be driving off at this point. But Joram there ahead of Magfire, Game for Life in P3. We'll start this one on the second row alongside Derby Bay. We're going to have Red Nas just behind them on the third row with Penguin Dude. Shug's Life in 7th with Mr. Basil alongside him. Jaffa Cake will line up with Polish My Balls alongside him, completing that top 10. DJ Phil in 11th place has got Raki, Bennett and NRO behind him. That will be juicy to see those three coming back through the pack with their early exits from the qualifying session. Scuderia says a lot of polishing by the looks of it. I think so, maybe. But at the moment we've got Joram coming up towards 130 here on this formation lap. Let us know, guys, who your money's on. Who do we think is going to take the win tonight? Do we think that Joram can wrap up the title with 4 rounds to spare, or is Game for Life going to deny him and manage to keep himself in the hunt for at least another round or two? Ultimately, all it's going to be for Game for Life is a stay of execution, but so to speak. But you know, he'd love to, I'm sure, keep this championship going as long as he can and keep that pressure on Joram for a little while. Yeah. That's Shug's Life and Mr. Basil have been disqualified from the formation lap, but they will be able to take the start nonetheless. Scooter Paul says good luck all. Big shout out to Raki and Joram. Absolutely, Paul. The two teammates, father and son duo, Joram the son, Raki the father. Those two driving the Red Bull, should be great to see them go at it. What a proud dad Raki must be tonight, with Joram starting on pole position, standing on the cusp of taking the Motive Racing F1 League title here on a Friday night. The cars lining up on the grid here. The pole sitter, the champion-elect possibly here, lining up on the left-hand side of the screen, on the right-hand side even, as the lights are moments even coming on. Magfire, we're looking to get a good start here. Game for Life. The championship rival of Joram just behind him on the second row, as here we go, lights are coming on here at Suzuka for the Japanese Grand Prix, round 15 of Motive Racing's F1 League. And it's lights out and away we go, and it's a good start there from Joram. Gets away very well, and Magfire tucks in behind. Game5's attacking on the outside of Magfire, but tucks in for the time being. Penguin Dude's looking down the inside here of Derby Bay, coming through turns 1 and 2, and can't quite get it done. Derby Bay holds on around the outside for 4th place, as Penguin Dude manages to get him on the exit there. Penguin Dude's up into 4th place ahead of Derby Bay. Red Nass there in 6th, with Mr. Basil Shugs Life in 8th place. As we see there, Bennett and NRO have both got up the field a little bit. They got ahead of DJ Phil and Mr. Basil. Bennett's already up into 9th place. Great start from Bennett LCFC. Mr. Basil down a couple of positions. Raki, DJ Phil and Polish Mobiles didn't start the race here. And Bennett continued to make gains here in this race. Red Nass has got ahead of Derby Bay, up into 5th place. Nice move there from Red Nass, but Joram leads at the start of this race, having got a very clean first couple of corners, and is now going to try and leave them here out the front. Game for Life, though, needs to get ahead of Magfire if he is to keep this championship alive. Magfire doing a good job here, sat in that P2 on this opening lap. Game for Life 3rd, Penguin Dude in 4th place, pretty close on the back of Game for Life at the moment, and if he can keep himself in DRS range, he can keep Game for Life under pressure here. But Game for Life, as we said, will want to keep this championship going for as long as he can. Red Nass there in 5th place. Derby Bay, Shugs Life. Bennett looking to the inside of Shugs. Can Bennett pick up another driver here? Looking to the inside, coming through Spoon. In the end, Shugs Life just covers that off, hugs that line there, and at the moment Bennett can't get anything done here. Down the run, down towards 130R we come. Bennett having a little look to the inside of Shugs Life. What can happen here? Oh, Shugs a little bit wide there. As can Bennett get the move done? It looks like now these two very much on the back of Derby Bay here. Derby Bay now losing out to Shugs Life. Shugs Life up into P6. Lovely move there from Shugs Life. Derby Bay there just losing out there to Shugs Life, but Bennett's now looking to try and capitalise on both of these two here, as Derby Bay's got the run back on Shugs Life down the start finish straight. Derby Bay around the outside there, manages to get it back. Can Shugs Life throw one down the inside? They're still side by side, and Derby Bay all over the curb there on the outside of turn 1, and Shugs Life manages to squeeze back through there up into P6. Bennett watching this unfold behind them, hoping to get involved. NRO also waiting in the wings. NRO and Bennett both crashed out of the qualifying session very early on, and will be looking to make amends here in this one, as we see Penguin Dude's out of the race. Oh no, Penguin Dude's retired on lap 2 of the race. VSC is deployed. Not a full safety car though, so Penguin Dude as a reserve tonight. What a shame there for him, as he was jumping in for his first racing in quite a while, while former coordinator and admin here at Motive, head steward as well for a while, has crashed out here on lap 2, is in the barriers, and VSC thankfully not a full safety car, but what a shame there for Penguin Dude. In the early stages here, is out of the Japanese Grand Prix here at Motive. Joram though still leading this race. It's got about a second back to Magfire. Game for Life in 3rd. Red Nass up into 4th place, with Penguin Dude's demise there. He's 3 seconds behind the 3 leaders, but the podium battle really raging on here. Game for Life desperately trying to get himself ahead of Magfire here, as he knows that if he were to finish in 3rd place and Joram were to win the race, Joram would have the title wrapped up going into the next round at the Circuit in Americas for the US Grand Prix. So Magfire here currently the man who's going to win this title for Joram here tonight, if he can stay where he is. But Game for Life putting that pressure on. Red Nass there in the background in 4th place. Shugs Life running in 5th, in just ahead of Derby Bay. Bennett LCFC up into 7th. Obviously those three all getting promoted a position, with Penguin Dude crashing out of the race. DRS enabled, but not this time around. It'll be enabled down the next detection zone. But these drivers, as you were, Bennett looking all over the back of Derby Bay here, can't find any openings at the moment. These two big rivals in the XLOG League on a Wednesday and Sunday. We obviously broadcast it on a Wednesday. Oh, Shugs Life's out of the race. Oh, what a shame there. Shugs Life has crashed out. We're down to 11 drivers here in the early stages. Another virtual safety car. Looks like we're going to recover it under a virtual though, not a full safety car here. So that's obviously gut in there for Shugs Life, racing as a reserve tonight. Or a lot of the reserves are falling by the wayside here, as another one bites the dust here on lap 3. Suzuka proving to be a little bit of a bogey circuit for some of the drivers we saw in the XLOG League last season, that it threw up a few thrills and spills. But VSC are once again deployed. Magfire's pulled out a bit of a gap to Game for Life, just over a second between those two. So that's comfort there for Magfire. NRO running in 7th place, 6/10 behind Bennett. Bennett's pretty close on Derby Bay at the moment though. These three running pretty close, 5th, 6th and 7th, and they've fallen off of Red Nass a little bit. Red Nass running all by himself there in 4th place. DRS will be enabled here down the run towards 130R, I think, or I might be wrong about that actually. It would be quite a dangerous place to have DRS, to be fair, going into a corner like 130R. Maybe not. Thinking about that logically, that probably wouldn't be the best of ideas, but Jerome leading here, coming out of the chicane up towards the start finish straight. DRS will be enabled, but Magpie is not in the detection, nor is Game for Life. Red Nast there running in fourth. Derby Bay's going to have Bennett all over the back of him here. Is now that rear wing will be wide open there for the Aston Martin. He's going to get the run here on his teammate in the other Aston Martin, but Derby Bay holding on for the time being. Coming into turn one, NRO looking at this, waiting to in the wings, waiting to pounce. If these two trip over each other in any way, shape or form, but for the time being, no dice there. Jaffa Cake's up into 8th place ahead of Mr. Basil. Must have been a DRS move there for the Alpha Tauri, getting ahead of the Williams into turn one. Nicely done. And Game for Life's had a moment there. Oh no, Game for Life's had a spin. He's down to 7th place here. He's lost out to Red Nast. So Red Nast up onto the podium. Derby Bay into 4th as Bennett's now got NRO looking to his outside. Bennett LCFC having a bit of a moment into take the one. Oh, bit of a touch there. Bennett spins out and he's on the inside of the track there on the grass, and he has to just swerve out of the way of Game for Life. Bennett's had an absolute mare there. Looks like he's escaped without too much damage. Might have a bit of damage on the rear there as he went into the wall in reverse, trying to get out of Game for Life's way. Bennett now down to P10 here as him and Emma NRO just had a little bit of a tangle coming through Degner 1. That caused Bennett to just get a bit of oversteer and then have to save it and slam the brakes on to avoid going into the wall. What a shame there for Bennett LCFC. Down to 10th place as we said. Joram though leads by 1.3 seconds. Magpie there in 2nd place. Red Nast running in 3rd place on the final podium spot. Derby Bay's pretty close on the back of Red Nast at the moment, and NRO's following him around at this point. These guys 3rd, 4th and 5th places. Game for Life there in 6th. He's got work to do here in this race, and as it stands right now here in this Japanese Grand Prix Automotive, it will be Joram taking the title with a few rounds to spare still in this season. What a season it's been for Joram, and he stands now on the verge of history. He'll be the season 2 champion for the F1 League if he stays where he is, and if Game for Life isn't able to finish in 2nd place here in this race. So the pressure's now on Game for Life, but even more so Joram, because he now is going to be feeling just how much of a tense situation this is, just how much this is riding on. He just needs to keep cool. Joram is obviously a man who's he's won 5 of the last 6 races here, and he's won 6 of the last 7 races, and 5 of those have been in the last 5 races. So Joram is on an absolute incredible run of form at the moment, and he'll be looking to try and keep that form going here at Suzuka. As we see Game for Life dropped on a couple of positions here. What's happened to Game for Life? Oh no, it's unravelling a little bit for Game for Life. He's down in P9 as it seems like the pressure's getting to him a little bit. Maybe you can see that the title's slipping away. He knew that the championship was pretty much off the table, but he's wanted to keep it going for as long as he can. DJ Phil has pitted, and he's put the... what's he put on? Has he put the hards on? It looks like he might have put the hards on here. No, he's put the mediums on, sorry. So DJ Phil's put the medium tyres on, and it's off and away once again. But Joram leading the race ahead of Magpie. Red Nast in 3rd. As you see, Mr. Basil there has made the move on Jaffa Cake coming through Spoon. I don't know if Jaffa Cake had a bit of a wide run coming through Spoon, but Mr. Basil up into P6. Nice move there from Mr. Basil. Red Nast still running in 3rd place, has got Derby Bay and NRO pretty close behind him. These 3 running with about 6 tenths between all of them, as Derby Bay now's got DRS on Red Nast here, and he's going to look surely to the outside coming up towards turn 1. Is this going to be a move for Derby Bay? No, it's not. Oh, VSC has put a paid to that one. So Derby Bay in the end couldn't make the most of that DRS that he had, as he had a really good run coming out the final corner, but that virtual safety car there has just put a nail in that one. Jaffa Cake has dropped down to P9. That's why we had the VSC. Jaffa Cake there having a big moment out of the final corner, and that's dropped him down to P9 here, so he didn't take the opportunity to come into the pits. Bennett's picked up a time penalty for corner cutting apparently. Track limits there for Bennett as he's into the pits. Bennett though has had a really difficult start to this race, down in P10, coming in for a change of tyres. I would imagine putting the well, he might be able to put the hards on from here. What does he do? Yes, the hards are going on Bennett's car, so he's going to probably try and go to the end from here, I would imagine. New front wing also going on, making the most of this opportunity. He'll be hoping that we have another safety car here in this race, and that will bring him back into it. DJ Phil has just rage quit from the race, and we're down to 10 drivers here. Simon Blair says, hi lads, good luck, I'll be there next season. Will be good to have you out on track. That's the Mutts Nuts there, regular racer in our touring cars and also the GTEs as well on Friday and Sunday nights. He'll be racing pretty shortly on Project Cars 2 for our touring car show. That'll be starting up at 9 o'clock. About an hour after this will be finishing. We'll be jumping on straight over on Project Cars 2, setting up a little practice session so the drivers can get a little feel for what's going on. Jaffa Cake's out of the race. We have now got 5 retirements from this race. Drivers are crashing out left, right and centre. He's crashed out here on lap 6. as Joram continues to lead the race. We've still got a battle going on for this final podium spot between Red Sun League and NRO, and this time Derby Bay will get the help in a DRS and will not get a VSC to stop him in his tracks. Here we go. Derby Bay down the inside in towards turn 1. Gets himself into the podium spots. Beautifully done there from Derby Bay ahead of Red Nas. NRO just watching this unfold as NRO goes very wide there coming through turn 1. That's going to halt his progress a little bit, but Derby Bay beautifully up into the podium spots there. Very routine stuff in the end. Red Nas didn't seem to fight that one too hard, but that was a DRS move, a typical DRS move. He was pretty close. He pulled out that slipstream with the rear wing wide open and got him into turn 1. Very nice stuff there from Derby Bay. Joram still leads at the moment on those medium tyres that he started the race on. He's got almost a 3-second gap at the moment over Magfire. Joram, as it stands in this race, will take the title with 4 rounds to spare, as Game for Life is in the pits. Game for Life, the man who could deny him in this one, but it's not been the race that he would have needed at all. It's been a very turbulent first stint, and he's changing his front wing, so he's clearly got damage on that McLaren. What tyres is he going to put on here? Is he going to try and put the hards on and go to the end? No, he's not. He is going to put another set of softs on here. So Game for Life is going to probably try and do a stint on the softs, and then probably, I would imagine, put the mediums on for his final stint. It'll be a 2-stop strategy here for Game for Life, I would think, as Bennett is in the pits again. What's happened to Bennett? Did he have a drive-through maybe? I don't know. Well, regardless, he's in the pits, so he's trundling through the pit lane now on a new set of hard tyres. So he's now been in twice in the last couple of the laps. There's your race leader Joram just putting a lap on Bennett into turn 1. Another fastest lap of the race from Joram. He's absolutely flying at the moment out there. We got Red Nas running in 4th place, a second off at the back of Derby Bay. But as we said, Joram very much could be on course to take the title here, and he'll be the 2nd champion for the Codemasters Formula 1 game here at Motive on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. Just Jose, obviously the champion of season 1. That one went all the way down to the wire to Abu Dhabi in his championship battle with Green Pies. This one very much looking like it's not gonna be doing the same, as Joram's got a huge lead in the points coming into this one. So all he has to do is just take this round, win this race, and he will have it done and dusted. Joram's gap, obviously, to 2nd place man in the championship, Horatio, is 83 points. But with Horatio not being here and Joram currently leading, that gap will be 108 points with 4 races left. The one that can stop Joram from winning this championship is realistically Game for Life, and the gap to Game for Life is 89 points in the championship. But as it stands in this race, with Game for Life will set to score 4 points compared to Joram scoring 25 points. That would mean a 21-point swing in Joram's favour, which would extend the gap to 110 points with 4 races left and only 100 points left on the table. It will be Joram's 4 to take him. Noticing there, Red Nas is within 0.3 of a second of Derby Bay at the moment, so these two still battling it out. They have been for a little while. We saw Derby Bay making the move down the start-finish straight with DRS on the previous lap to the one that's just gone. But Red Nas hasn't given up and is still very close on the back of him. These two seem pretty evenly matched at this point, as they continue to battle it out here. DJ Field has texted us saying, lost my front wing, tried to get in the pits, that's why the virtual safety car came. It's unfortunate for DJ Field there. Shame to see. Usually makes it to the end of the race. Is very unlike Phil to quit the race, but obviously I think it was out of his hands there, as the car had terminal damage on it, which was preventing it from getting any further in the race. So not really a whole lot going on at the moment. We could have redone with a safety car to spice up the action and just concertina the pack up a little bit. I'm sure that Bennett LCFC will be absolutely screaming out for a safety car, as will Game for Life. But at this point, it's looking very much like Joram's going to wrap up the championship, unless we have a couple of safety cars to throw things up in the air again. Derby Bay running just ahead of Red Ass at the moment, 0.3 of a second between these two as they're coming out of the final corner out to the start-finish straight. AWS reckons that if drivers come in at the end of this lap they might be able to go to the end of the race on the medium tyres. So that could bode well for those who started on the softs. Softs go about 9 or 10 laps, and Bennett's out of the race. Yet double waved yellows through sector 1, and we've got a safety car here. Oh, as we see somebody spinning out in the background there. Just see a driver losing the car. That was Red Nastair losing the car, and that's Dobby back up into 3rd place. Red Nastair down to 5th place. NRO gets the position. So Red Nastair losing a couple of positions, but a safety car is deployed. Oh, and Red Nastair's lost it again. With very worn out soft tyres there, he can bring it in at the end of this lap. And oh, he needs to be careful there. Oh my goodness, Mr. Basil just about avoiding Rednass there, and Raki following him through, but that was very close to disaster there. So Rednass needs to come in and get those soft tyres changed. That safety car's come at the perfect time for the soft runners, really. And that will back the pack up into sort of one little block again, which will be exciting to see. So at the moment, Joram leads the race, currently in a championship taking position, but this has just given Game for Life that opportunity to bring himself back into the fight a little bit. Magfire running in 2nd place, Derby Bay in that final podium spot at the moment, but that could all change under the safety car. NRO 4th, Mr. Basil 5th, Raki in 6th, Rednass and Game for Life, the only drivers out on the track left in the race, who are a little way behind. Game for Life, I think, is a lap down, so he'll have to really make hay while the sun shines and get himself round. I know he's not quite a lap down, so he'll be okay. As Joram puts the hard tyres on. And I think the reason why Joram's doing that is just simply because he's already done one stint on the mediums, so he can't do a second stint on the mediums, as you have to use 2 different tyre compounds. So Joram's obviously put the hards on so that he uses 2 different tyre compounds. You can't get to the soft. You can't get the softs to the end from here. No chance in a million years. So I think that the hards were really the only option for him. He couldn't put the mediums on for another stint, as we said, even though they will probably go to the end from here. With the safety car obviously being out, that means that you do a few laps at non-racing speed, so you get to save the tyres a little bit more, but you wouldn't be able to get the soft tyres to the end, no chance. So Joram's put the hards on. We'll see whether or not he's still got the pace advantage over Magfire and Raki with those two on the mediums, so that will definitely benefit Magfire. Raki though's still got a pit, as he has not been in so far. He will not be able to get those mediums all the way to the end, plus a mandatory pit stop in F1 as well. Derby Bay running in 4th place has put a fresh set of hards on, as is NRO, as is Mr. Basil. So those 4, Joram, Derby Bay, NRO and Mr. Basil, all technically on the same strategy here, can all go to the end comfortably from here. You'd imagine they would be staying on those set of tyres all the way to the checker flag unless we get another safety car. Rednass on the mediums, Game for Life staying out on those fresh softs. So by the looks of it, Game for Life is going to try and just really bang these lap times out as we come out, once we come out of the safety car, because he's on the soft tyres. He's got a few medium and hard runners just ahead of him, so this could be a chance for Game for Life to really make up some ground here. He'll have a lot more grip, and we know he's got the pace, so he could really pick his way through this traffic here and find himself in a good position. This championship might not be over here. Game for Life could quite feasibly keep this championship alive. As we said, as long as he finishes on the podium, he'll keep this championship going until at least next week at Austin, Texas, at the Circuit of the Americas for the US Grand Prix. So Game for Life just needs to keep himself on that podium. He needs to get himself within 2 positions of Joram. But teammate of Joram, Raki's currently running in that 3rd spot, so he'll have his work cut out for sure, as these guys have now joined the safety car queue. Joram, Magfire, Raki, Derby Bay, NRO, Mr. Basil's joined the queue, as has Rednass. So we're just waiting on Game for Life to make his way around. One more lap under the safety car and then we'll be green once again for the remainder of the Japanese Grand Prix here at Motive. If you like what you see, guys, if you're watching live on YouTube, be sure to drop a like on the video. As we said before, we understand that most of the viewers that watch live on the channel, or no, most of the people who watch the video, or watch the stream rather, are the drivers watching it afterwards, or friends and family maybe later on. But if you are watching it live at the moment, we obviously appreciate you guys massively. We got Nem Vidic watching live, Scuderia Paul also big fan on the channel, the Mutts Nuts, as well as Pete Bibb and Game for Life chiming in, as well as racing. But if you guys like what you see, then make sure you drop a like on the video, subscribe as well if you haven't already. Join us at www.motiveracing.com if you're watching us for the first time. Bennett says in the YouTube comments that NRO took him out, so that would have been what triggered the safety car, and NRO's got off with that one very lightly, to be fair. He's running in 5th place, so it's not really fair on Bennett at all, that one. Hopefully he sends in a steward's inquiry and the stewards can do something about that, because that's obviously not on. But Bennett there voicing his support for the championship leader and race leader Joe Ram here, hoping that Joe Ram can get the job done here and now. But still a long way left to go here in this race. Safety car will be in at the end of this lap, we know that for sure. The pack is all joined up to the train now. No reason why we can't go at the end of this lap. So hopefully it will be plain sailing from here until the end. Scott Ayres says he wouldn't have chosen hards, he thinks the medium's the way to go. Yeah, I know what you're saying, mate. I think a lot of these drivers started on the mediums, so they have no choice really, because they can't get the softs to the end from here, so they've just got to compromise and go for the hards. So they're obviously less grippy. You can easily get the mediums to the end from here, there's no question about it, but it's just a case of obviously the rule that you have to use 2 different tyre compounds. So Joe Ram's in that sticky situation. Obviously I think he's the only one, so I don't know why the other 3 went on the hards, to be fair, but yeah, that's a bit of a weird one. But Joe Ram back in the pack up. When he puts his foot to the floor, we'll be green once again, and he's gone. Here we go, we are racing once again. Joe Ram puts his foot to the floor, and action underway here. Game for Life picked up a penalty that will only affect his ability to keep this championship going, as he's struggling to pick up points here. Derby Bay's got ahead of Raki straight away up into 3rd place. Beautifully timed there, finger on the post from Derby Bay, getting himself up into the podium spots. Joe Ram leads ahead of Magpie. Derby Bay in 3rd. There's Raki there in 4th place ahead of NRO. Mr. Basil Redknapp and Game for Life at the back here of this 8-car field to finish off the Japanese Grand Prix. A very depleted field here. Lots of drivers have bitten the dust over the course of tonight, but Joe Ram looking on course to take the championship. We've said this so many times, we're saying this pretty much once every 2 minutes, we're saying this at least once a lap now, that Joe Ram could take the title. I'm screaming it from the rooftops. I want everybody to know that Joe Ram could be the next Formula 1 champion here at Motive on the PlayStation 4 and 5 on the Codemasters Formula 1 game. As it stands, provisionally in this race, he will be the champion. Massive pressure on this young man's shoulders, as he's got the hard tyres on at the moment. He's got to really push here, because the hard's probably not the way to go. You could have probably put the mediums on, but seeing as he started the race on the mediums, he had no option to put these hards on. He's just got to absolutely rag these around and try and outpace Magfire, despite Magfire being on the more grippy medium tyres in the closing laps of this race. Paul Bennett says, come on Joe Ram, and come on Derby Bay, get some points for Aston Martin. Scott Ayres says, I wouldn't have chose hards, think the mediums are the way to go. I already said that earlier on, we already read that one out before. As we've got NRO pretty close on the back of Raki, looking to the inside and towards the chicane. Raki holds on to that one for the time being. Oh, we see Mr. Basil straight on over the chicane. That's going to give Redknapp a run here, but Redknapp there will not get DRS this time around, seeing as it was it's obviously only the first lap of the safety since the safety car restart, and can't get enough of a tow to get the move into turn 1. Game for Life waiting in the wings behind these guys on those soft tyres. Joe Ram still leading though, ahead of Magfire. NRO still pretty close on the back of Raki. Mr. Basil being dragged along with NRO on the back of Raki, and Redknapp still very close on the back of Mr. Basil at the moment. A 4-car train here battling over 4th place. As we see, oh, NRO's out of the race. He's crashed out there, coming on the top of the S's. Yellow flags through sector 1. Virtual safety car here. 7 cars left in this race. Incredible scenes here. What is going on tonight? We're getting so much carnage throughout the race here. We're only half distance, and we've already lost half of the drivers that we started the race with. What a disastrous show here tonight. Another VSC. But Game for Life's pretty close on the back of Redknapp right now. Look at this, he's going to be trying to pick up these pieces here. He's not too far off of Mr. Basil either, because Redknapp is pretty close on the back of Mr. Basil. Game for Life, as we said, has to finish in 3rd to keep this championship alive. If he finishes in 4th or lower, then Joe Ram is the champion. Scott Ayres says, finish race, you probably get a podium tonight. Perseverance is key. You've got to be in it to win it. As we see, Game for Life has got the slipstream coming down towards 130. He's going to try and make this move here on Redknapp. Redknapp covering that line on the inside for the time being. Nowhere out for Game for Life. As Redknapp all over the place there, very wide on the braking here for the chicane. Can Game for Life get the cutback? It says DRS enabled from race control, but it won't be enabled until the next DRS zone. It won't be enabled down the start finish straight. We see Game for Life trying to duck out that slipstream. I think he might have a higher downforce setup here because he doesn't seem to have the straight line speed to get around the Alfa Romeo at the moment. And Rednas holding on to that position on the inside. Game for Life trying to get it around the outside here, coming out of turn 2, but can't quite get it done. And he's going to go for the inside for turn 3 though, and he's going to get that done beautifully. Game for Life seizes on that up the inside of Rednas. Rednas gave him the space, and Game for Life up into P6 can now try and chase down Raki and Mr. Basil up ahead, but Raki's going to be playing rear gunner for Joram, who could take the title as we said tonight. Joram can easily go to the end and is keeping the gap around the same to Magfire at the moment. Obviously Joram on those hard tyres has really got to push because Magfire will have the pace advantage on those mediums in the final part of this race. But the good thing for Joram is that the further we get into this stint, the more that he will pull back time on Magfire, because he's on the hard tyres. Obviously the more durable compound, those white walls are the more durable compared to those yellow walls of Magfire. What it means is that we'll be seeing Joram, it will come back to him in the closing laps of this race. The medium tyres start to lose a little bit of grip after about 10, 11 or 12 laps, so you'll find that once we get to about lap 25 or so, maybe lap 24, 25, you'll find that Magfire starts to lose a little bit of pace, and then that'll be the time when Joram's hard tyres, which are extremely durable and can pretty much go on forever, you'll find that that he will be still doing the same times pretty much by that point that he's doing now. You know, the hard tyres, it takes a lot for them to lose performance, but right now Joram and Magfire still very close, but Joram just holding on there as they came into turn 1 and 2. DRS was open for Magpie but couldn't make it work. Gamefly's got himself ahead of Mr. Basil here, up into 5th place, so he's made the move into turn 1. Gamefly's picked up another position there as Raki's lost it. Raki's off there coming out of turn 1, and that's given Game for Life P4. Crucial for Game for Life. Saying that though, he's on the soft tyres. He's done about 5 racing laps on these soft tyres, so he's on borrowed time here. He needs to come into the pits again. We believe that Joram, Magfire and Derby Bay can all go to the end from here, so Game for Life has got work to do, and he's going to have to come in again, so that could really affect his chances of finishing on that podium here tonight. I tell you what, it would take a monumental effort here from Game for Life to get himself onto the podium. But we're still going here, lap 16 of 27. Pete Bibb says never give up, you've always got a good chance of getting some good points. Absolutely, Pete. Points mean prizes, and if you DNF then you're not going to get any points, you know, so it's always something in keeping with it and having that perseverance. And Mr. Basil's not done with Game for Life either. He's only 6 tenths behind him as they're coming into the chicane, so Mr. Basil's definitely keeping himself in the hunt here. But Game for Life started off this season pretty strongly with a win in Bahrain, followed that up with a second in Spain, had a couple of DNFs, then took the win in France. Since France he really dropped off though. He wasn't able to race in Austria, and then took a P6 at Silverstone after pitting himself out of the lead in the closing stages and throwing away some points. He then followed that up with a P5 in Hungary, followed by a 4th in Belgium, and then the last 4 races has had 4 DNFs, and that really, you know, if his championship wasn't going off the rails at that point, it's completely flew off the tracks at you know, in the last 4 races. Has joined me in the box and has kept me company throughout the recent rounds, and it's been great to have his insight here on the stream, or you know, in our party chat. But tonight he's really pushing, trying to get as many points as he can and maybe prolong this championship if possible. Rednas has got ahead of Mr. Basil up into 5th place. Beautifully done there from Rednas. Mr. Basil looked like he must have made a mistake coming through to sector 1. In fact, no, is he missing his front wing? I think that Williams is front wingless there. Yes, it is. Thankfully, no yellow flags or safety cars, but Mr. Basil's going to have to limp round to the pits there. Game for Life is now within a second of Derby Bay, but Game for Life needs to come into the pits again before the end of this race. What Game for Life really needs now is a safety car, just to bring himself into it. Maybe if he'd get a free pit stop in, and then he'd be right on the back of the pack with only 7 cars. He'd not be too far off for the lead at the end of a safety car period. But without any safety cars, Game for Life's got to hope for a miracle here if he is to keep this alive for a couple more rounds. Joram leads the race by just over a second here to Magfire, as we see Mr. Basil coming into the pits to get that front wing replaced. Bennett says, Joe, you deserve to be the champion. Great driver. Come on, mate. You can do this. I believe in you. And also my good friend Derby Bay doing a great job tonight. Derby Bay currently running in that final podium spot. Game for Life, though, is very close on the back of him. Looking to try and gain as much time as he can here. Now, Game for Life's done 10 laps on these soft tyres, but about 4 of those laps were done under the safety car. So he'll have a little bit more life in them yet. I'd say after this lap, he might be able to do three laps maybe after this lap, so he's on borrowed time on those. He needs to really clear WA ASAP, try and pull a bit of a gap to him, and then put another set of softs on for the closing stint, and just hope and pray that he can close that gap down. But here we go, we're on the run up towards 130R. Is Game for Life going to be close enough to make this move on Derby Bay? A little bit too far back at the moment as we're coming up towards the chicane. He won't be able to get that run through 130R and possibly go for a lunge into the chicane because he's too far back. Derby Bay still holding on to this one for the time being as they're coming out on the exit of the chicane now. A bit wide from Derby Bay there. That could present Game for Life with the opportunity he's looking for here. He'll have DRS down the start finish straight. Here we go. The McLaren picks up a lovely toe. Rear wing wide open as well. Coming up towards turn 1 we come, and now Derby Bay's going to defend to the inside, and Game for Life's going to have to go around the outside here. Oh, ever so wide there. Derby Bay gets holds on the inside, but Game for Life swoops around the outside up into 3rd place and gets that position done. A little bit naughty there as he was off the track. But the race control doesn't seem to have intervened. Oh, no, Game for Life's got a split sideways there. Gets a big wiggle coming through out of the exit of the S's. And that has now given Derby Bay P3 once again. And Game for Life, if he was on thin ice before, has just made it a whole lot worse for himself, down to P4. And that could have potentially thrown away his chances of finishing on the podium here, as he's still got to pit again. He would have needed to get ahead of Derby Bay, put out a bit of a gap, then come into the pits and then close him down again on that final set of softs. But maybe that could have just made his job a little bit too difficult here, as he's still got to come in and put another set of soft on before the end of this race. Possibly the championship swinging ever so more in the favour of Joram. We know he's going to win the championship at some point this season. He's got over a 90-point lead, but the question is when, and it could very well be tonight. It could be in about 8 laps time, maybe, who knows, in just over 10 minutes we could be crowning a new champion of the Motive Racing Formula 1 League here on the Codemasters Formula 1 game. Joram will be a deserved champion. He's had an incredible second half to this season. It's been nothing short of absolutely phenomenal when you consider, I mean, round 10 of the season Belgium, and then round 11 in the Netherlands, round 12 at Monza, round 13 Russia, round 14 Singapore. Those 4 races, those 5 races, round 10, round 11, round 12, round 13 and round 14, all Joram victories. He took 5 wins in a row. Before that he got a first and a second at Silverstone and then at Hungary, so 6 wins out of the last 7 races. Looking to try and make it 7 out of 8 here in the last 8 races it will be by the end of tonight. He's currently keeping Magfire at bay still. Magfire, despite having the medium tyres, despite having probably the grippier tyre, is still falling off at the back of him. What a superb drive it has been. Under pressure tonight from Joram. Things haven't really gone perfectly for him. The safety car came at the wrong time. He had to make do with the hard tyres when he could have easily got the mediums to the end, simply because he started on the mediums and had to use 2 tyre compounds. If it wasn't for that, he could have put the mediums on and easily outpaced the rest of them, but he had to put the hards on, and he's had to do this the hard way, literally here, as he's absolutely blitzed it since the latest safety car restart. Magfire started to take a little bit of time out of him on this lap. The gap's come down from 1.8 down to 1.6. Magfire's gained a couple of tenths here so far on this lap. So Magfire's not done here, and I'm sure we'll be looking to try and chase a win here at Motive if he can. 7 laps left to go here at Suzuka for the F1 round 15 of the season. 15 of this 19 round season. Joram ever closer to wrapping up this championship, as Game for Life has pitted for another set of mediums, which is a bit strange. I would have thought he'd put the softs on from here, but Game for Life has been in for the mediums and will easily be able to go to the end, obviously, but I don't fancy his chances of even getting P4 on the mediums, to be fair. So Game for Life, looks like it's going to be the championship over for him. Horatio, as we said, was the closest challenger to Joram coming into this, but he was 83 points behind before tonight. With Joram currently leading, that gap will go up to 108 points with 100 left on the table. So Joram will without a doubt take this championship as it stands here in this race. His gap to Game for Life was 89 points before tonight. After this, it will be 104. So that will, without any shadow of a doubt, take the championship for the Red Bull driver, who looked like he was going to take the win in the opening round of the season at Bahrain. I mean, we all remember Bahrain and how much of a letdown it was for Joram. He crashed out of the lead with about 7 or 8 laps to go. It was actually Game for Life who ended up taking the win that night in the first round of the season. I remember thinking to myself, Joram had made such a big improvement. He'd made a real step in the right direction and had found a lot of pace in that pre-season, came into it as the favourite with obviously being the fastest car in Bahrain, then had that crash which knocked him out of the race in the final few laps. And I was thinking to myself, is it going to be his season? You know, when you get such a disappointing start after such promise, it can really knock the wind out of your sails. But you know, he's just kept on pushing. He hasn't let that get him down. Game for Life managed to capitalise on that and ended up leading the championship by quite some way actually after the first few rounds. Joram had to miss a couple of races as he was on holiday. He was on his summer holiday in August, I think it was. Him and his dad Raki, teammates at Red Bull, both had to miss a couple of rounds near the start of the season. They both had to play catch up, and Game for Life has obviously had a few DNFs over the course of this season, which has really derailed his championship challenge. So they've both had their share of bad luck. They've both had their DNFs and their did not starts and so on and so forth, you know. And ultimately Joram has capitalised every time that Game for Life has crashed out of the race, winning each of the last 4 races, as we just see there the McLaren of Game for Life there just being lapped by Joram. So Joram a lap ahead of his championship rival here on lap 22 of the race. And then Vinic says there, Mr. Basil up into 5th place. He's gone ahead of Raki there. Raki, by the looks of it, feeling the nerves even more than his son is at the moment. He's not having the race that we usually expect to see from Raki, but he's probably just on tenterhooks at the minute, as you can see Joram inching ever closer to a possible championship here as Game for Life's retired from the race, and that by default gives this man the championship. We're just going to keep a lid on it for the time being, as we've still got 4.5 laps left to go in this race. But Joram, well, even if Joram were to crash out of the race now, even if he were to DNF at this point, he would still have an 83-point lead over Horatio. He'd have an 89-point gap to Game for Life, with only 75 left on the table. No, it wouldn't be actually. No, Joram can't DNF. He can't afford to DNF. I do apologise. Joram must finish this race in at least 2nd to take the title. But he's currently in the lead, so he hasn't got to worry too much about that. But Joram's got to get to the flag, and he's got to finish 2nd or higher to take the title. As we're just going to go to a blue screen very quickly, guys. We're going to jump into a party chat, and we're going to get Game for Life in, and hopefully once we get to the end of this race we'll be able to get Joram in as well. Apologies for this. In a second. So let's get Game for Life into this commentary booth, and then hopefully we can get Joram in afterwards. So we started off tonight with 14 drivers out on the track for Motive Racing's F1 League here at Suzuka, around 15, and we're down to 6. We've lost 8 along the way. We've got Game for Life in the box right now. Game for Life, buddy, if you've have you done your party settings? Because I think last time we couldn't hear you. If you go to party settings, make sure it's on always allow. As long as that's cool. Well, unfortunately for you, we just retired from the race. We saw obviously the DNF. I didn't see what happened there, if it was an incident or whether you threw in a towel there, but we saw you had the pace early on, and it seems to have just slipped away a little bit in the closing laps here. Joram's got incredible pace, looking like he's going to take the title here. How does it feel to have given him a fight in a few of the races this season, and ultimately what are your thoughts on tonight, and what could you have done better tonight maybe? Do you think do you think that tonight was a little bit of a difficult track for you? You said in the comments, you said in the stream earlier on that you didn't like this one. Is that a factor maybe? Do you think that was maybe why you were having a bit of a difficult race earlier on?
Yes. No.
It's just not your night.
Yes. Just Russia was one of my favorite tracks this year. Like, it didn't go well that time either, so I think I lost my confidence and luck.
Yeah, I think it's been a case of that. I would say it's been ever since Silverstone really, because we saw you leading the championship going into Silverstone, and then obviously it was a decision by yourself, which at the time didn't seem like it would be too costly. I mean, you had a big lead in the championship at that point. Joram was kind of like nowhere to be seen because he'd missed a couple of rounds earlier on in the season, so you know, it was at that point it seemed like it was just going to be a little blip on your way to a title, but ever since Silverstone it really hasn't gone to plan for you. I mean, the DNFs, it's just everything that could have gone wrong seems to have gone wrong this season. I guess what the question would be is, what would it be that you would most need to look at in order to improve your consistency this season? Because that's been where Joram, I think, has managed to capitalise so much. Every time that you've made a mistake or crashed out of the race, Joram's been taking the wins. So what would you do? What do you think's been the problem? What do you think's been the thing holding you back?
I haven't maybe been awake in a couple of races. It's cool, and it's really different, and I'm tired all the time after.
It's just general day-to-day life is a little bit stressful, and it's affecting your on track. It's making you not able to practice as much, and maybe not be as on the ball when you're getting to the racetrack. I know what you're saying.
I think the races where one came on were in the summer break, so I think I wasn't tired, and I was having fun.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I can relate to that a lot. I mean, I race on Project Cars 2 on Thursday nights in another league, and I find that on days when I'm at work, I find that it's a lot harder to focus and to have a good result compared to when I'm not at work. Say I've had a day off and I'm racing, I find that I always have that little bit more energy, and I'm able to have a better race on track, just down to the fact that I haven't been working. I find that's sometimes a big factor in my racing as well, so I can totally relate to you on that one, buddy. We see Mr. Basil's pretty close on the back of Rednas here on the final lap. We are on the final lap of the race here at Suzuka for round 15 of the Formula 1 League on a Codemasters Formula 1 game. Joram looking like he's moments away from the championship here. It was looking like it was going to be a game for life in the early part of the season. We went into Silverstone. Joram took his first win of the season at Silverstone. It was his long-awaited first win. He came close to a win in the first round of the season at Bahrain, but that all got away from him. He then proceeded to take 5 out of the next 6 races, 6 out of the last 7 here have been taken by Joram. He's about to take his 7th win in the space of 8 races. He is currently on the most incredible purple patch that we've seen in the Formula 1 League here at Motive, in towards the final chicane. Joram, with 4 rounds left in the season, is going to extend his gap in the championship to 108 points. With 100 points left on the table, he takes the checkered flag, and Joram is the Season 2 Formula 1 champion on the PlayStation platform here at Motive Racing. A big congratulations to Joram. What a drive, what a season. Game for life. One of the best drivers here at that we've seen at Motive in the commentary box alongside me, as unfortunately is out of the title race for this season. Horatio was the other driver who could have denied Joram. He wasn't here tonight to do anything about it. Magfire takes a brilliant 2nd place tonight. Take nothing away from him as a reserve. Great standing appearance from Magfire. Derby Bay completes the podium in the Aston Martin. Rednas is coming up towards the back straight here. He'll finish in 4th. Mr. Battle's still out there just a bit behind Rednas, and Raki will complete the race in P6. A very depleted field for this one, but what a driver this guy is. Joram was a regular mid-pack runner last season. We had just Jose and Green Pies battling out towards the season finale at Abu Dhabi last season. Joram was one of those drivers who was on the fringes of the lead pack, and sometimes he would be in amongst it, but the improvement that he made in that pre-season was astonishing. He's made the step to being one of the front runners, one of the regular battlers for the wins week in, week out here at Motive. He's taken 7 out of the last 8 race wins. What a performance tonight from Joram. What a season. And still 4 rounds left. I'm sure we're going to see so much more from Joram over the course of this season. We're going to see if we can grab Joram for an interview here at the end of the season. The champ, obviously worthy of getting him in and seeing what he has to say at the end of this. I don't know whether he is going to be able to jump in for an interview. Hopefully he will, but if not, we're not going to obviously worry too much. But it would be nice if we can get a word with him here. Shoot him an invite. If he jumps in, then it'd be nice. Raki there in the comments in the YouTube stream says congrats Joram. Raki, teammate and father of Joram, pretty proud to see Joram's performance tonight. We have got Joram in the box. He joins us in the booth here. Hello, welcome along. What a season from you, mate. 7 wins from the last 8 races. Insane stuff. What a season from yourself. How does that feel? 4 rounds left in the season. You're a Motive Racing champion, Season 2 on the F1 game.
Yeah, felt great actually. I mean, in the beginning, I was kind of inconsistent, a lot of mistakes. But I think after my holiday, I kind of improved myself. It was very nice battling you, Game for Life. I was above that. And my dad is just blocking it.
We got Raki there in the background there giving Joram a clap. Obviously his teammate and his dad in the Red Bull. Great to have a father and son partnership. It was a really cool at the start of the season. I thought that was so cool that we got a father and son in. Obviously Raki does race with us on ACC, but it was, obviously it's a shame that Game for Life had the DNFs towards the back end of the season. It would have been cool to see you two going at it a little bit more. The early stage of the season we saw a bit more of that. Did you think at any point this season, obviously when you had that holiday at the start of the season, you missed a couple of races, did you think at that point maybe that could be the championship out of the window, or were you just always focused?
Yeah, it was. I kind of thought I lost my championship there because I got 0 points in my first 2 races, and after that I didn't drive 3 races, so I was at 0 points 5 races in the season, so I kind of thought my championship was gone. But I still got it, so I'm kind of
Yeah, well, it's been an incredible performance here from you ever since you managed to get back into it. I think it was must have been around Spain. I think that you jumped in full time again, or maybe even later than that. I think it was France even. It might have been. I think when you joined us back full time. But ever since Silverstone, you've been the man to beat. You've been on incredible form. The only win that you didn't take was Hungary. That was when A. Thompson won the race at Hungary. That's the only race since Silverstone. Yeah, the only race since Silverstone that you haven't won. So a big congratulations to you, man. Really well done. Thanks for lighting up our screens over the last 7 or 8 weeks, and indeed throughout the whole season. But commiserations to Game for Life, because you drove really well in the early stages, and I think you've just got you've got a season's worth of bad luck in the last 4 races. So unfortunate, but hopefully we'll see you back fighting next season and for the last 4 races. But Yeah, we've got a lot of comments coming in here on the YouTube stream right now. Pete Bibb says, congratulations to Joram. Game into the max says, let's go. Paul Bennett was giving you lots of support. Bennett LCSC there was talking you up there in the comments, Joram. Also, Scuderia Paul as well. All of these guys get really lumping on the praise here. Paul Bennett says, well done, Joram. Congratulations. Raki says, thanks for professional commentating. No worries. When you got proper driving out, when you got some of the best driving out on track, makes it easy. So my pleasure. But cheers, guys. Thank you very much, Joram. Congratulations, champ, and best of luck. And best of luck for the rest of the season. Let's see if you can continue your run. Maybe, who knows, you might be able to get 9 wins in a row like Sebastian Vettel did.
Oh yeah, the dominance.
Maybe continue that run all the way to the end of the season. But hopefully we'll see Game for Life giving you a good run for the money at the end of the season. Thanks ever so much, everybody on the stream. Raki absolutely delighted with that there in the comments. Other leagues should I don't know about that. But thanks everybody once again. A big congratulations to Joram, and that's it for tonight. Join us next week. We'll be back for round 16 at Circuit of the Americas. I think we're going to be dropping Australia, I think it is, we're going to be dropping, and looks like Abu Dhabi as well. So the season finale is going to be at Interlagos, which frankly I'm a big fan of, because I don't think that the season finale should be at Abu Dhabi. I think it's a bit of a drab track, so I'm down for a season finale at Interlagos. Looks like looks like we're going to be ditching Abu Dhabi and Australia, so that's good news. But thanks everybody, we will see you in the next one. Drop a like if you haven't already, and see you later.
Right, see ya.
See you, mate. Great driving tonight, man.